Aarushi Sharma and I'm going to be talking about dissolving and I'm also going to be doing some experiments on it. So let's get started. So first of all, what is a mixture? A mixture is a combination of liquids, solids or gases that can be broken down into pure substances by physical processes. Let's start with types of mixtures. In total, there are 6 types of mixtures. The first mixture is gas with gas mixtures. The most common example is air, which is all around us. Air is a mixture of hydrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and many more gases. The second type of mixture is gases with liquid mixtures. Some of the examples are like whipped cream and shaving cream. Here is my example. So I have a spray bottle and some water in it. Now that is a gas with liquid mixture. The third type of mixture is gases with solid mixtures. Now I'm going to be doing an experiment for this type. So you'll need a matchstick, you'll need an incense stick, and you'll need a container. So as you can see, I've lit my stick and now I'm going to put my container on top of it. It forms our solid particles. So this proves that smoke was a solid and gas mixture. Our next type of mixture is solid with liquid mixtures. So in this type of mixture, I am going to be doing the suspension experiment and a solution experiment. So let's get started. For this experiment, you will need 2 beakers, some water, pepper, and salt, and a stirring stick. First, let's add some water in both the beakers. Let's take our salt and add it to one of the beakers. Next, let's add our pepper in the other beaker. Now, our last step is to stir them properly. Let's stir it for 30 seconds. Let's go to our second beaker. Our final step is to observe. So, our first beaker has successfully become a solution because the salt has dissolved into the water. On the other hand, our second beaker's pepper has not dissolved into the water and has been suspended or hanged. And this mixture is called as a suspension. The fifth type of mixture is solid with solid mixtures. So let's do an experiment. For this experiment, you will need some salt and kidney beans. So let's mix them. So this has become a solid with solid mixture. Now imagine you want to separate them. How will you do it? You can use the technique of sealing. You will need a colander for this. So our last type of mixture is liquid with liquid mixtures. Some liquids mix easily with other liquids and those are called miscible liquid or soluble. On the other hand, liquids which don't mix easily with other liquids are called immiscible liquids. So let's do our experiment. So for our experiment, you will need 2 beakers, some water, milk, and oil. So for our first experiment, we will be doing miscible experiment. Let's put in some water in both the beakers. Now in your first beaker, add some milk. And in the second, add some oil. Now let's mix. In our first beaker, the milk has mixed completely with the water, and so it is called as a miscible liquid mixture. On the other hand, the oil has not mixed properly in the second beaker, so it is called as an immiscible liquid mixture. A solution is when the solid and the liquid are mixed together. So now let's make a solution. As you can see, the liquid I'm using to make the solution is water and the solid is sugar. Now let's make a solution by mixing them. Let's stir it so that the solid dissolves into the water. Stir it for about 30 seconds. So now the sugar has dissolved completely into the water, making a proper solution. In a solution, there are two parts. The first part of the solution is a solvent, which is the liquid part of the mixture, and the second part is the solute, which is the solid part of the mixture. In our experiment, sugar, which is a solid, so it is our solute, and water, which is a liquid, so it will be a solvent. A saturated solution is when the solute can no more dissolve into the solvent. Factors affecting solubility, which mean that to make the solubility faster in a solution. The first way of doing that is by stirring faster. You have a solution of sugar and water. You can mix the sugar faster into the water by stirring. The way is to break the solid into smaller pieces, because smaller pieces will dissolve faster into the liquid than the bigger pieces. The last way of speeding up the solubility of a mixture of a solution is to heat up the liquid. Heating up a liquid makes the solid dissolve faster into the hot liquid. Now we are going to be making an oblate mixture. What is an oblate mixture? An oblate mixture is when the mixture can be a solid and a liquid. Let's see how it's made. To make an oblate mixture, you will need a container, a cornstarch, and some water. So first let's put in our cornstarch. Now let's add some water. And let's mix. As you can see, when I take the oblate mixture in my hand, it becomes a solid, and when I let go, it turns into a liquid. This is an oblate mixture. Now let's talk about separating mixtures. The first one is filtration. Filtration is a method of separating an insoluble solid from a liquid. Let's see how it's done. So I am using 3 grains and some water. So let's make our mixture first. Let's add some water into our beaker, and then let's add the 3 grains. Mix. I'm going to be putting a tissue paper, but you can also use a filter paper. As you can see that we have successfully separated the two, solid and liquid. All the tea has been collected on the top of the filter paper, and the water has passed through the filter paper. The solid that has been left behind on the filter paper is called as the residue, while the liquid part which has been passed through the filter paper is called as the to pour the oil out, and that is decanting. Now, as you can see, we have successfully decanted most of the oil from the water. So, we have successfully decanted our oil from the water. Another way of separating a mixture is by sieving. You use a colander, which is this, to sieve. A colander has small holes from which water or any liquid can pass through. Small solids can also pass through, like salt and sugar. Now, let's pour the mixture into our colander and sieve it. So, as you can see, the kidney beans and the salt has successfully been separated. The next separation technique is using magnets. Magnets attract iron. If in a mixture you have a substance which contains iron, you can use the separating technique of magnets. Let's see how it's done. So, I have some paper clips which contain iron, and I have some pieces of paper which do not. Now, let's make a mixture. So, let me put the paper clips in and let's stir. Now, we'll use a magnet to attract the paper clips. And this has attracted most of the paper clips. Using this way, we have separated most of our paper clips from the paper. Another technique of separating a mixture is evaporation. Evaporation can change the state of a matter, like water can change from liquid to gas. And if we evaporate the water from this mixture, you will be left behind with the solid. The last separating technique is chromatography. Paper chromatography is a method of separating dissolved substances from one another. Chromatography can only be used when the substances are colored, such as ink, color dye, and many more. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video.